This guy is all about shaving heads and not points. It's the Shave Heads Not Points podcast with your host, PJ Davis.
What's up, Josh?
Going on, PJ?
We got Josh Lindke in the house from Central Catholic High School in Toledo, Ohio. He is the passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach up there. Central is kind of a big deal up there in the Ohio area, 4-time state champs, 17-time, I guess, what do y'all call it, division champs?
Yeah, region champs.
Region champs, all right, so that's what we call them down here. Kind of tell us how you got to Central.
Yeah, so I first and foremost appreciate you having me on. So I kind of started my career young. I graduated high school in 2012 and went and played college baseball for a year up in Michigan. That didn't end up working out. Knew I wanted to get into coaching in some form or fashion. So I kind of started coaching baseball and football and went back to my alma mater, and really fell in love with coaching football. So I was at my alma mater, which was Anthony Wayne High School, which is around the area here, for 2 years, coached for the guy that I played for.
Mm-hmm.
And we were a wing tee offense, so I was coaching receivers. So those guys that know the yeah, exactly. But it was good, man. It was my first. I was 19 years old at the time, so it was a perfect job to have. And then he let me call the JV offense, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
So did that for 2 years, and then kind of got the itch to try my hand at college ball. So I was a student at Bowling Green State University and decided, to send an email or send a letter, so to speak, to the director of football ops there at BG. And at the time, Dino Babers was there. So I ended up getting hired on there as a student assistant. And and anybody that's familiar with Dino Babers and kind of that Baylor Art Briles tree, that year in 2015, that's when, that offense was kind of taken off, and Kendall Briles down at Baylor and those guys, and Dino was running it up here at BG and just lighting it up with points and kind of that spread it around, throw it around the yard, fast tempo type stuff. And that was like my first time ever, dealing with an offense like that, because I was a wing tee guy. So that was, culture shock to me.
Absolutely.
So fell in love with that. And then, was there for 2 years. We won the MAC title in 2015, and that was a great experience. Sean Lewis, who's now the head coach at Kent State, he was the OC on that squad. So still tight with those guys, and to learn that offense was great. And then Mike Jinks came in, and he's part of that air raid Cliff Kingsbury tree. So a lot of people kind of think that those offenses are similar, but they're two spread offenses, two high powered offenses that play fast and throw it around, but very, very different in style. So that was cool to be able to learn, two of the most high prolific offenses, in the country at the time. So was a student assistant, worked really closely with receivers and quarterbacks there. And that was awesome. Got really involved in the recruiting stuff. And as a student assistant, if anybody's been a student assistant before, you kind of you do as you're told, and you do a lot of miscellaneous jobs, but
absolutely, it's
really just a way to get your foot in the door and build connections. And then thought I was going to stay on as a GA, and decided, I'm going to go the high school route. I had a longtime girlfriend at the time who is now my wife, and we were getting pretty serious. So, wanted to go make some money, got my teaching license, and then got my first offensive coordinator job at 23.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was super exciting. Had zero idea what I was doing. I thought, when you're that age, you think you know what you're doing, but you really, the first time you're in a position like that, it's like being a head coach too. The first time you're in a position like that, you kind of just learn trial by fire. So
exactly right.
We were taking over a program that was, I went to Toledo St. DeSales, who's actually our rival now at Central Catholic. Been a longtime rival for a lot of years. And Central's, the big dog, quote unquote, around this area. So we were, taking over a program at St. Francis that was only had won one game in like 2 years. So, that was a lot of hard work and just a lot of long hours that, you think you're going to come over and take over for somebody that, was doing a decent job beforehand, but you don't realize until you get there how much work you have to do. So, was there for 2 years, and we ended up, having a rushing champion 2 years in a row in the league. And we went from, the year before we took over, they were 0-10. And then we went 2-8 our first year and then 4-6 our second year. So, we kind of built the framework there to now they're in the playoffs the last 2 years. So the head coach there, Dan Chipka's he's done a good job of kind of continuing to build that program. And then I got a call from Coach Dempsey, Greg Dempsey, who's the head coach at Central Catholic. And when you think it's high school football in the state of Ohio, and more specifically Northwest Ohio and Toledo, I mean, Central Catholic is the cream of the crop or the top of the echelon, so to speak. So when Greg Dempsey calls you, you have to listen. So offered me a passing game coordinator quarterback's job. And it was interesting because it's kind of taking a step back. He calls the plays. Coach Dempsey's done it, a lot of different ways and had Deshaun Kaiser there at one point.
Really?
So people are familiar with Deshaun. Mike Warren, who's in the NFL too. There's been at least 8 or 9, I think, NFL players that have come out of the school. Big time college football guys too. And but really wanted to improve the pass game. Wanted to improve the RPO game, improve the tempo. So that's part of the reason why I got hired. So came in and we were able to really just get after it in that sense and kind of revamp the offense and really just become, Central's always been known to have a lot of good running backs and a really good running game, and just now to become more dangerous with a quarterback. I can throw it around a little bit and utilize those weapons on the outside as well with some good receivers. So, and like I said, when Coach Dempsey gives you a call and being at Central Catholic, that's something that you can't turn down. And it was kind of taking a step back in terms of role or title, but, just being around everybody on our staff, every one of our guys that are position coaches, and could be coordinators somewhere, could be head coaches somewhere, but we're really just there because we want to win. And being at Central Catholic gives you the opportunity to make a state run every single year. So, something that I couldn't really turn down at the time. And it's been the best thing for me. And I've never had more fun coaching with a group of guys. So really fortunate to be here and to work under Coach Dempsey and the rest of the staff.
Yeah. So when was the last time that they won a state championship?
2014 would have been the last time.
14.
Played. It was ironically enough played against Joe Burrow in Athens.
Lord.
Everybody's familiar with Joe Burrow, obviously. Yeah. That was the last time. And in that game actually Central ran for like 500 plus yards and Joe Burrow and those guys at Athens threw for 500 plus yards. Ended up being a great shoot. Yeah, great shootout. I think the final score was like 52-55 or something in that range, 56, maybe 56, 52, something along those lines.
Wow.
So just unbelievable game.
Yeah.
It was funny when Joe was going through all his draft deals, last year and getting all the publicity he was getting. It was fun. Coach Dempsey was getting some calls from ESPN and things like that. guys asking about what it was like to play against Joe Burrow in high school. Yeah. So that was cool.
Yeah. So talking about quarterback play, where do you kind of start from? What's your best what's your best advice for where to start once a kid gets into high school or a kid gets with you, fundamentally, obviously, but where do you start?
Yeah, I think that it's important to really let those guys be who they are. Obviously you want to, in my opinion, you kind of want to fit your offensive system around what they can do best. You got to be able to adapt. I mean, for instance, for us, like last 2 years, we had a kid that was kind of, I wouldn't call him a game manager. He was a dynamic kid, but not a huge kid, not a freak athlete by any means. Just really was a distributor at the end of the day. And we had a bunch of guys and a bunch of athletes around him that made him look really good. He's still a really good player, but we had a bunch of guys that helped him out. Whereas then next year, the kid that we'll have, the junior coming in, the whole offense is going to be built around him. He will be the dude and the premier guy. So I think that's the first thing. You got to kind of find what they do best, and build your offense off of that. Me as an individual guy, quarterback guy, I like to work from the ground up first, meaning I think your feet are the most important thing. If a guy can throw the ball and he's got a fairly decent arm, and his mechanics aren't horrible, I won't mess with him too much. I mean, if he can spin it, let him spin it. There's some things that you can do grip-wise some things you can do with the throwing motion, but I don't want to spend too much time on screwing up a kid's throwing motion if he can already throw the ball well enough. So we'll spend most of our time. We talk all the time about good feet, good throw. If your lower half is correct, I think 99% of the time you're going to be all right as a high school quarterback. And I think that can be said for any kind of quarterback. I mean, you look at where the game is in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes has a freak of an arm. But a lot of times, if you look at what he's doing with his lower half gives him a chance to throw in all those weird arm angles, because he's good down there. So I think that when you're wanting to build a kid, I think getting his feet right is the most important thing. And if you ask our guys, ask anybody in our program, what we do as a quarterback room, we spend 90% of our drill work working on our lower half before anything else. So, that's the big thing for me. And then just building the mentality and the mindset too of being a quarterback. I think it's really a lost art in the high school game. Coaches don't spend enough time just in the film room with those guys, really teaching those guys how to be pros at the game of football at the high school level. I think is really important, because when they understand mentally what they're supposed to be doing, they can play that much faster.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, let's take a commercial break, and when we get back, let's talk a little bit about introducing an RPO to a quarterback.
Sounds good.
All right. Shout out to our friends at Chop Block on the Square in downtown Gainesville. Go visit them any night of the week. They are serving up the greatest beers in town, some of the greatest deals, and the greatest food that you'll ever put in your mouth. Trivia night is every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Join them in the Skybox upstairs for trivia night. Also on Thursday nights, you got karaoke with DJ Blaine from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. in the Skybox. Come out and play with them there. Then on Sunday nights, you have poker starting at 7 p.m. in the Skybox. $200 free roll Sunday extravaganza. Must be 21 to attend. Monday, industry night karaoke with DJ Blaine from 9:30 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. Go join them there at Chop Block and Skybox. And then they're having poker night Tuesday as well. Another $200 free roll, 7 p.m. until whenever you shut the place down, baby. Go visit our friends over at Chop Block. Visit them at chopblockgainesville.com. The law office of Leonard C. Parks Jr. is proud to be a sponsor of the Shave Heads Not Points podcast. Attorney Lee Parks is a Gainesville native and a graduate of UGA Law School. He's practiced criminal law in Hall County in Northeast Georgia for the past 36 years, both as a prosecutor with the DA's office and as the Gainesville Municipal Court Solicitor, and for the past 22 years as a defense attorney, and handles everything from speeding tickets to death penalty murder cases. He's been named a Lawyer of Distinction in National Trial Lawyers Top 100 Criminal Defense Lawyers. His office is at 604 Green Street next to the Quinlan. If you need help with a criminal law matter, call Lee Parks at 770-503-9819 for an appointment. Happy holidays. All right. So getting back into it. When you're a quarterback, when you're a quarterback in today's world, so many people want you to get ready for RPOs. If you're in the spread offense, if you're not in the spread offense, you kind of don't have much to worry about. If you're in the wing T, you definitely don't have anything to worry about. But how do you introduce that to a kid? I mean, is it a classroom thing? Is it a film thing? Is it a field thing is what I meant to say.
Yeah, so I think, when you're talking about RPOs, I think, because you come across a lot of guys that just want to throw RPOs in their offense, and that's great. I mean, there's nothing wrong with wanting to throw RPOs in your offense. You're starting to even see like triple option type guys putting different types of RPOs into their offense. But if you're a spread guy, man, the kids got to understand, number one, who he's reading, why he's reading them, and what the purpose of the play is first and foremost. So you want to, kind of teach that on the whiteboard first. Anytime that we introduce something, we're gonna draw it up for our kids on the whiteboard. And if we have film to show them from previous years,
of course,
we will show them the film too. So kind of with your install, give them the the idea, the X's and O's portion of it on the whiteboard. And then, if you've got that visual film too, because some kids, and we've made this mistake. I've made this mistake installing stuff. You install something on the whiteboard and then you just expect the kids to go out there and execute it properly. Sometimes they learn better from just watching the film, obviously. So, give them that X's and O's on the board, show them the film, show them what you shouldn't do, and then show them what it should look like, with whatever kind of film system you're using. And then, I think the most important thing, I think the biggest issue that guys run into when they install RPOs is that, and I've heard this be said to quarterbacks before, it's just, hey, read and ride, mesh with the running back, read that guy, and then if that guy plays run, pull and throw it. If that guy sits, hand it off. Well, that's all good and true. Yeah, that's correct in theory, but it's like anything else. There has to be a progression it's like offensive line play, man. It's, getting on zone tracks and getting on power tracks, so to speak, gap down, things like that. There's all technique to that. There's technique into RPOs as well.
Of course.
So I think the big thing is giving those guys the tools to understand and know the difference between a pre-snap RPO, a post-snap RPO, and the footwork that goes along with all that. And again, that goes back to your lower half. So, when we start our individual drills, my individual drills will start with, because we run a lot of RPOs, is RPO footwork. So they've got to understand if you're running a pre-snap RPO, whether it's a bubble or a missile, let's say, we consider a lot of those bubble missile type RPOs as pre-snap RPOs, where you're just kind of reading box numbers and you're reading, sideline numbers, so to speak, with skill guys. If you got good numbers, get it out there and throw it. Mm-hmm. Well, it's easy to just tell a kid, say, hey, if you got good numbers, catch and throw the football. Well, he's got to have the correct footwork to do that as well. So we kind of give our guys those tools to understand, number one, what's a pre-snap RPO? What's my footwork for that? Is the back to me or is the back away from me in this pre-snap RPO? Because if I'm going to throw it to the same side as the back, I got to clear him first. So it's almost like a shortstop where he's turning to, and that's one of the terms that we use in a pre-snap RPO, catch and throw. He's got to clear that bag and clear that running back, so to speak. So it kind of correlates like that.
Okay.
Before he delivers the football. So, and then you got to give him the footwork, the read, ride component when you're doing your post-snap RPOs, which are more downfield to me. Mm-hmm. Your sticks, your slant routes, your glance routes, your Ohio speed out type route. That's all downfield stuff. That's your post-snap where you're really, truly reading and riding and manipulating a defender. It's easy to just tell a kid, say, hey, read, ride, mesh, pull, throw the ball. Okay, that's easier said than done. He's got 2 or 3 things he can focus on and rep every day. Well, now when he goes and does that, you see it on the film. He's been doing this all day, all week in practice, so he's got those tools to be successful at it.
Absolutely. What if you were to install first day? How are you teaching the footwork, and more specifically, the footwork and the mesh point? Or do you have any, like you said, read and ride, and then you started talking about something else? Do you have any acronyms or anything else like that out there for coaches to pick up on and say, hey, I like that?
Yeah. So I can pull up my huddle here. I've got a little presentation that I've done in years past, in terms of, when you're talking about RPOs. And I can show you guys that. Let me get down to it here first.
Okay.
And this is changing. You go back as a coach, we review things constantly. You get better every year. So and RPOs are ever developing, man. They're constantly developing, and so you kind of got to develop the footwork with your guys too. Can everybody see my screen?
Not yet.
Let me share it with you guys real quick.
Okay. I was trying to make sure that the settings were okay first. I think they are.
You guys see this?
There we go. Yep.
Perfect. Well, and this is a quote that I like a lot. It kind of goes back to that mental side, but really the quarterback is ready to go play when he not only knows what, but why he's doing it. Uh-huh. And let's say, for instance, if you got a junior or a sophomore coming in, first-time starter, at that point, you're really just trying to teach him the offense and what you want to do. You're really just trying to teach him this RPO and what you want to do. But really, until that's his second year in the system, he's not going to understand why he's doing it until then. Because it takes a minute for those guys to develop it. So, as we go along here, I'll kind of give you, some tools. So when you're looking at a quarterback philosophy, and this can go for RPOs, pass game, but you want a guy that's going to be efficient and accurate at it. You want him to have that big playability, be a competitor, and be different and have some swagger when he's going about that stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, QB drills, when we first start out, simple is better for me. I'm a big guy on less is more. I don't think that you need to have 6 million quarterback drills, because I think that the game of football is played in such a way that it's just read and react at this point. And if you're giving your guy too many things to think about, he can't play fast. Like I said before, lower half is so important. The lower half, like, you're going to see all this RPO stuff. It's all lower half stuff.
Yeah.
And then the arm talent's going to come. I mean, depending on where you get your guy and what year he is in the system, I mean, he's going to develop the arm talent as long as he can spin. And if you're starting a kid as a sophomore or a junior, on your varsity, it may be at a point it's the only guy you have, but you also are starting that kid for a reason. So he should be able to throw the ball well enough at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Our everyday drills for RPO, they're all quick release drills, but I think quick releases all stem from your footwork. So we talk a lot easy way, hard way with our stance and start. We call a drill called a back away and a walk away. We have a turn 2 drill, a quick rip drill, and then for all your downfield stuff, your read, ride, pop. There's a same side that you work and an opposite side that you work.
So what's your easy way, hard way? So
your easy way is going to be your natural throwing position.
Okay.
So if you're a right-handed quarterback, right? When you teach a kid, I'm an elementary school PE teacher. So when you teach a kid to throw, if you're a righty, that left foot is going to come forward first.
Okay.
Correct. Same thing. I mean, if you're a lefty, that right foot's going to come forward. So your easy way to throw as a quarterback is going to be if you're a righty and you're moving to that left-hand side, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a lefty and you're moving to that right-hand side, and you're going to see here on the drill work.
Okay.
Now, the hard way comes in when you are a righty and you have to turn to that right side and throw to the right side. Then you really got to work on that turn 2, flipping the hips.
Absolutely.
And you want to make it 2 quick, distinct movements, because the longer it takes, the less likely you're able to get the ball out quickly and efficiently.
Yeah.
When we warm up, man, we talk about every throw is a big-time throw for our quarterbacks. So, I'm constantly saying that's those guys just like getting it in their head. Hey guys, every throw is a big-time throw. Don't ever take any throws off. There's always 3 distinct movements that we use. Our throwing stance is really important with our hips. And then, anytime that our kid makes a bad throw, the first thing that I look at is feet.
Yeah.
And when we watch the film with them, the first thing we look at in an RPO is feet. So when our guys warm up, okay, and this is just their general, basic, generic warm-up. They're going to warm up with their feet parallel just like this, twist their hips, and then this will transition into our RPO footwork.
Okay.
So you can see our guys here. Now, here's where we talk about the easy way. So you can see my guy Bishop here. He's a right-handed thrower. His left foot is in front, just slightly staggered in front of that right foot.
Yep.
It's a natural throwing position. So that's going to come into play later down the line when we get into this RPO drill work. This is a natural throwing spot for him when he's facing his target. So this is what we talk about easy way. So he's just going to twist his hips, flick the ball nice and easy. Same thing going back. Now, here's a hard way. Right-handed quarterback, right foot is now forward. Okay, so now he's really got to twist those hips, pop his hips to get in a good throwing spot. Same thing with our guy here again. Okay, now he's got his right foot forward.
Okay.
He's twisting his hips. Nice and easy, just getting them used to that position of, okay, now I got to throw a hard way and my right foot is going to be on the same side as my throwing side. It's going to feel a little bit different. I got to twist a little bit harder. So here's where we get into our RPO drill work. So this, for me, is an easy way. Okay, so he's turning over his left shoulder. He's a right-handed thrower. He's going to pop his feet in a 1-2 scenario. So it's going to be pop, pop. All right, and he's going to get his feet in a good throwing position. This is going to translate, okay, if he's doing a post-snap RPO, he's reading and riding to that same side, his right-hand side, to pull and throw the football. So we just want him to flip over. I'm just going to give him a nice and easy ball call. They're going to flip over that easy side, which is their opposite shoulder, get their feet back to a good platform and deliver the football. You guys can see how this will all translate into an RPO look later on down the line. Now he's going to go his hard way. So this is like him being a right-handed thrower throwing to that right side. He really has to flip his hips now, that same side. He's really got to flip his hips to that target. So you really want to flip. You're going to give him a ball call, flip, pop, pop.
Okay.
They're going to get their feet into a good throwing position.
Now, I noticed right there, he kind of took almost a little gather step, right?
Mm-hmm.
There. So that it's okay for him to boom, boom.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. Because when you're throwing, and if you're in an awkward position, right, you're throwing your hard way, meaning if I'm a right-handed thrower here and I have to turn my body, or if I'm a right-handed thrower and my RPO is going away from me, and now I have to flip and turn to get that front shoulder back forward to the target. You got to, there's two distinct movements, we call it. So his first movement is going to pop him, and now he's facing his target, but he still is not in a good throwing spot. So we need to give one more pop or a gather step, like you called it. Boom. Now he's in a great spot to throw the football. And you'll see how when we talk about this pop, pop mentality, they're going to pop their hips when they're throwing their opposite way or their hard way in a traditional pre-snap RPO or a post-snap RPO. So we'll do that same drill, and now we'll just have them walk away just to gather a little bit more movement, get it going towards their target again. Same deal here. He's just walking away. So now here's where we talk about a pre-snap RPO, and then we'll get to the post-snap here in a second. But a turn two mentality is like a shortstop, okay? Turn two to from second base to first base. Okay. Let's say you have that pre-snap RPO, right? Let's say the back is 2, okay? Or let's put the back away. So your back is here. He's away right now. And let's say you just have a catch and throw bubble out here to this side, okay? All the quarterback's got to do is catch, gather, get his feet moving towards the target. It's a pre-snap. So he likes his pre-snap numbers. There is no read, ride, mesh with this. All he's got to do is gather, catch, and throw. But he's got to have the tools to understand how to do this. So we really look for, I want him to catch the snap, right? Get his feet moving towards the target and deliver a good ball. So you'll see here, he's going to simulate a snap to himself. I've got a guy out here, just like in a bubble position or a missile position or a now screen. He's just going to catch, throw, get his feet moving. Sometimes guys will get stagnant and they'll just catch and throw this ball right away. All right. And they've got no momentum going towards the target. It's just like a shortstop when he's trying to push his momentum towards first base or a second baseman to turn two, that double play. It's the same type of mentality here. So this is for all pre-snap RPOs. Now coming back, now you notice him, he's taking a back step, or he's taking a clear step, as I call it. This would be simulating if a running back was to his side for a pre-snap RPO, and he knows right now, based off the numbers out there, I'm going to throw this thing right now. I don't need to read and ride and manipulate anybody. I'm just getting the bubble out right now. Well, he still has to have the tools to clear the running back, if that makes sense. Because the running back's going to mesh across opposite. He's going to alert the back, say, hey, I'm throwing this thing. He's going to take a clear step back with his near foot, all right, just to clear the running back, and then he's going to deliver the ball to the target. So you can see how that's used here. Instead of just catching and throwing it right now, and then he runs his ass right into the running back. So this is all pre-snap stuff. And this is all easy way. So you notice, okay, he's not flipping the hips here. He's really just moving towards his left-hand side. It's his opposite throwing side, right? So you remember when I talked about in the beginning, right-handed thrower, left foot forward first. Same type of deal here. This is all easy for the quarterback because he's throwing to his opposite side, if that makes sense. Now we're going to go pre-snap RPO drill work, but we're going to have more of a pop mentality, or more of a flipper hips mentality, and we call this the hard way. So now he's really going to throw to that same side, and he's got to flip his hips, pop, and get that front foot. You guys notice his left foot here.
Keep talking, Coach.
His left foot here is now directly pointed towards his target. He's got his hips in a good spot, and he can deliver the football his hard way, so to speak. Pop, ball. Same deal here. Pop, ball. Now he's going to clear the back. Pop, ball. And this is what I'm saying to those guys constantly. Pop, pop.
And now here's some drill tape of it. So you can see, all right, we just worked the easy way pre-snap RPO. All right. And he's going to his opposite side now. So it's like a traditional throw where you're a right-handed thrower. Your left foot is forward first. All right. It's easy for you. You can see this is a pre-snap RPO for us. We love the numbers here. We're going tempo. This is 3-on-1. So he's just going to catch, get his momentum moving towards the target out here and fire this thing out there. And you can see how this translates. We just worked this in an individual drill. So he knows the routine now.
Yeah. Obviously, somebody screwed up some sort of lineup or coverage because you got trips bunch and you got one corner out there. I have no idea. Exactly,
man. We're playing. This is the beauty of tempo, right? And you play fast, you get guys misaligned, and you can roll.
Yeah.
And we don't even do a great job blocking this out here. I mean,
because you got 2-on-1 and he still slips through and almost makes the tackle.
Exactly. But you can see what tempo does and getting people misaligned and playing fast. We still get, and all we're looking for these little slip screens or missiles or bubbles. It's like an extension of the run game. We're just looking for 4 or 5 yards, and we pick up a first down here. But again, if you just told your quarterback at the start of this thing, hey, read the numbers out here. If you like it, throw it out there. Well, if he has no idea he might think he has to mesh with the running back at this point and then throw it out here. Well, no, this is a pre-snap RPO. You got the drill work. We just did it in an individual drill. Catch, throw, get it out there, and let's play ball.
So how is it – let me ask you this. You got the pass option is opposite of the back pre-snap.
Yep.
So what are y'all looking at? All right, so you got numbers that you want. You got 3-on-1. But if he doesn't have numbers, is he going to hand it off or run it on the opposite side? So it's not really like a play side RPO.
Correct. It's not your traditional. And a lot of times what we found in the last 2 years of really divulging into RPOs.
Okay.
And I had a ton of experience with it when I was at BG, but really bringing it over to Central here. Is that, your bubbles and your missiles more specifically. I mean, everybody runs a bubble. And for missile, for us, you go to a trips missile or a 2x2 missile. Inside receivers are kicking out the corner or double into that point of attack man. And then you're throwing that 1-2 step back screen to the outside receiver.
Okay.
When I say missile, that's what we mean by that. Some people call it a now screen. Some people call it a smoke screen or a fast screen. We just call it a missile. What we found is that those really have to be pre-snap RPOs because it takes too long to try to throw from side to side to each side of the field to read and ride something and then pull and throw horizontally, whereas your true post-snap RPOs are more downfield. It's more of your stick concept. It's more of your glance route. It's more of your speed out. That's where you can really read and ride somebody post-snap and manipulate. These bubbles and missiles have to be a numbers game. So we'll just make it a pre-snap RPO. We'll tell our guys, say, hey, if we've got a bubble or missile tag, just check the numbers pre-snap. Check the numbers, check the leverage of the defenders. If you like our numbers, like here, to me, this is 3/2 for us.
Yeah.
Right? Even really 3/1. So this is great. Catch, get it out right now. You don't need to read and ride and react with the mesh of a running back. Now, if you don't like your numbers, okay, let's say this guy was plussed out here. Safety could have been rolled down, or you got a press corner, and then you really got like a 3/3 look. He would just turn and hand the run concept at that point, if that makes sense. But we would still run the bubble action out there to manipulate defenders. But it just keeps it easy for your quarterback. He doesn't have to try to read and ride anybody on these bubbles. And really, when you're playing games with the bubbles and missiles, trying to get to the perimeter of the field, you don't want to waste time riding, pulling, and throwing something horizontally to stretch.
Absolutely.
You want to get it out. You want to get that thing out there now. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm writing this down. I'm writing this down. I like
those bubbles and missiles have to be pre-snap in my mind because you want to get the ball to your playmakers now in space based off of the numbers. So here again, this is his easy way. All right, he's just going to catch, get his momentum moving towards the target, get the bubble out to our guy now because we've got 3/1.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So you got count. Is it counter or buck sweep?
Yep. And you notice we've got counter coming to that same side. So this was a specific. Yeah. This was a look that we liked this week. We've got guard tackle counter coming back this way to the same side as the bubble. Really trying to threaten. You know what I mean? Where some people will go guard tackle the opposite way. They'll go boom here. whatever it may be, where we liked it to that same side there. So, but again, it just keeps it easy for our quarterback. It's a pre-snap RPO. It's a bubble missile. If you like the numbers, throw it out. If not, just hand the football off.
Now, but that's a game plan thing, running counter to it, right? That's not y'all's base philosophy.
Correct. That wasn't something that we live and die by. That was for specifically this week, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So again, and if he wouldn't have liked the numbers out there to throw that pre-snap RPO, he would have just turned and hand counter to our back here. Same thing again, backs away. Now here's an example of it being a hard way pre-snap RPO. Okay, so really you guys have seen the drill work that we just worked. Turn two mentality. He wants to get that opposite side foot, front side now. He's got to pop his feet, 1-2 pop. So you're going to see him flip his hips, pop, and then he's going to deliver the ball.
Okay.
So we call this the hard way now because, look, he's going to that same side throwing side where he really has to flip his hips, okay, and get that front shoulder, which would be his left shoulder because he's a right-handed thrower pointed to the target. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So you can see it show up in the drill work. You'll see the back angle now here. This is literally the drill we just did, the turn 2 drill.
Okay.
Boom, pop the feet, ball. And he's getting it out to his guy right now. And again, to me, this is 3/2 for us. So we're in a win position here for this pre-snap RPO. Get it out to our fast guys. Let them go play.
Now, this can you don't have to elaborate on this, but is it every time that he's going to the number 3 receiver is going to run that bubble?
Yep. So our number 3, our number 3 is always running the bubble. We're in a trips look. We can manipulate it any way we want, really, but most of the time when we're in a 3-by-1 scenario, our number 3 is always going to be that guy that runs the bubble.
Okay.
Now, here's a scenario where it's a pre-snap RPO. It's a bubble to the boundary here up top. Okay, we're going to run bubble to the boundary here up top. But now, like you guys saw in that drill work that I showed you, the back is to his same side. It's still a pre-snap RPO to us. There doesn't need to be a read-ride scenario here. But he wants to be based off the numbers. This flat defender, so to speak, is here, right? We've got good leverage out here with our bubble guy. All right, so for me, right now, this is 2/1, if that makes sense. So we like the numbers for us. We're going to catch. He's got to clear the back now because the back is to his throwing side. His easy way is to his throwing side. He can't just catch and throw this thing and move horizontally right now. He's got to clear the back with that clear step and then deliver the pre-snap RPO bubble. So you can see, again, that was a drill we just worked where he's taking that clear step with his left foot. Back is clearing him, and then he's just getting the ball out right now. So you guys can see how this drill work with the pre-snap RPOs translates now into the game.
Yes.
Like you just told your guys, say, hey, throw the bubble out there right now. Well, the back's to his same side. Is he going to – he may be savvy enough just to know I got to clear the back here and take that drop step and throw it out there. But if you haven't coached him up on it, he might not know exactly what to do. You know how high school kids are, man. They need to be told
multiple times.
You might get that guy once in a blue moon that's savvy enough to do that. And the other thing you got to work too is, so we call this quick rip, no laces. So when you're doing this stuff with your quarterback and you're having him spin a snap to himself, simulating that snap, have him throw these pre-snap RPOs without laces a lot of times because they happen so fast.
Yes.
If he doesn't have any familiarity throwing without the laces, then ball could come out wobbly. Or you could have a scenario where you have a kid spending too much time spinning it in his fingers, trying to get it out there, and that delays how quickly you can get the ball to the perimeter.
Okay.
So here he's familiar with just catching and throwing and get it out there. We do a horrible job locking this up, but the ball is coming out fairly quick.
Hey, where's number 3 going?
In no man's land. All right, so now we're going to get into post-snap drill work, okay? So now this is where you're running your stick route. Everybody's running, Y stick nowadays. You're running your speed out. You're running your glance route downfield, whatever it may be. Now this is really truly where you are post-snap reading, riding, manipulating a defender. If he plays run, you're throwing the RPO. If he sits in the alley or sits in the throw window, telling your quarterback just to hand it off.
Gotcha.
So there's 2 ways we talk about, okay? So again, here's my right-handed quarterback. All right, he's going to take this snap. and he's going to have an RPO to his same side, a post-snap RPO to his same side. Well, he's going to his right-hand side here, so this is technically considered his easy way because it's on his same side throwing. So all he has to do is really bring this left foot, all right, into a 90-degree turn, so to speak, facing to the sideline. Same thing with this right foot. He's going to pivot into a 90-degree turn. He wants to show his hips to the sideline because you really want to give that manipulating defender that you're reading the look of he could give the football at this point. We want him to play runs so we can throw this RPO, or we want him to sit out in the alley so we can hand the football off.
Right.
You really want to show read, ride, 90-degree turn, and then if, let's say, that defender plays run, he's in a good spot just to pop his feet and throw the ball. So you can see that here. Read, ride, pop, ball. Right? So we consider this the easy way now for a post-snap RPO because he's on that same side throwing shoulder, if that makes sense to everybody.
Yes. Yeah.
All right? And you can notice it's just a slight pivot. His feet are at 90 degrees. Toes are pointed to the sideline. He's given a quick mesh with the running back. All right? You really want to take that backhand, push it through the football. And then again, after he's reading and riding, he wants to pop the feet to get back in a good throwing position. You can see the feet pop, gets it back in a good throwing spot to deliver that RPO. Same thing here. Read, ride, pop, ball. Notice how the feet pop at the end to get back into a good throwing spot. His feet aren't flat, generic, stationary in the ground. He's getting the momentum to deliver the football again. So these are the key words that you're saying to your guy. You're saying read, ride, pop, ball.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
This is for all your post-snap RPOs. So you can notice how the footwork's a little bit different now compared to, your traditional pre-snap stuff with the bubble missile where it's just catch and let's get it out there right now.
Yeah.
Same thing again. Here's a side profile of it. Notice how he's taking that right hand. He's really pushing the ball through on the mesh. All right, his momentum is moving towards the RPO. He's not sitting back on his heels. That way when he goes to pop his feet, he's almost gained a yard or two towards that RPO to make it a little shorter throw in essence.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good point, though, talking about that hand pushing it, pushing the ball through the mesh point. That's a good point.
Yep. Something I learned at Bowling Green when I was there with Sean Lewis, who's now the head coach at Kent. Matt Johnson was our QB at the time. He's the running backs coach at Kent now. Really take that backhand and push it through the mesh point because, again, if you just kind of leave it to the running back to take care of the deal there, there could be some gray area. Or if the ball is back, like let's say this football, instead of being here, let's say the football was back here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You could have a scenario where now your quarterback is falling forward or the running back is almost reaching back in that mesh point to kind of feel that out. Whereas you tell your quarterback to push that ball through the mesh point with this RPO. If he decides to hand this thing off here, great. You're in a great spot to give it to the running back. If he decides to pull and throw it, now he's got good momentum to come back, release the ball, and deliver a good target. Or deliver a good ball, I should say. Excuse me. All right, so we got this drill kind of from Toledo, same type of deal here. And you can see when we're talking about pushing the ball through the mesh point. Now, they're just running typical zone read here, but this drill, this is where you start when you're building your foundation into RPOs. Everything happens at the mesh point with the running back. So you can see my guy here. Let me see if I've got the film work with my other guy. Let me flip through this film here real quick.
Yeah, you're fine.
That's okay. We'll go back and show my other guy. So now we'll go the opposite way. Okay, so let's say now the back is away from his throwing shoulder. So when you're working a post-snap RPO, okay, if the back is opposite of your quarterback's throwing shoulder, so my guy's a right-handed guy here, the back is lined up to his left pre-snap. So now, okay, he's going to have to read ride, but then he's going to have to pop. And you guys remember the drill that we talked about in the beginning where it was the hard way. They had the back away. They were walking away, and then they had to pop, and twist twice. They had to take that extra gather. This is where that drill comes into play now, building that foundation or building that progression here. And as you can see now, he's doing a post-snap RPO opposite of his throwing shoulder. So now it's hard for him. So really, he can't go on a 90-degree. Like, let's say he took both of his feet and went 90 and flipped his hips, right?
Okay.
All right. That's going to take a lot longer for him to then pop, and twist his hips all the way back around to get into a good throwing spot. So when he's going his hard way on a post-snap RPO, we're just going to tell him to go on a 45-degree. So the easy way is a 90, the 40 or the 45-degree is the hard way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So now he's just going to take that same side throwing shoulder and foot and turn it 45 degrees. Okay, notice how this foot doesn't come all the way to 90. It just goes 45 degrees. That way he can pop his hips. Now he's in a great throwing spot again. All right, this is picture perfect throwing spot you want to be in to now deliver the football, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And again, if you didn't give your quarterback these tools in this RPO setting, in this drill work, how the hell is he going to know what to do on an opposite side throw or an easy side throw or the same side? You know, he's not going to know what to do.
No.
He might know because he might have some swagger, but you know, it's going to be tough for him to correlate all that. So here, okay, we're going same side, okay? So he's going to RPO, the same side RPO here. It's his easy way because he's a right-handed thrower. All right, we're doing the glance route or the slant route here. We're reading this defender here. We're running power, kick out power up front, and we're running the slant concept right behind this alley defender here. Everybody's favorite RPO, I think, at this point now. It's a great – you see Alabama run it a lot.
I know it is.
I love this RPO. But so now he's got a post-snap RPO. It's downfield. It's the same size. So he's going to read, ride, pop, and deliver the football. You should see both his feet point 90 degrees at the sideline because we talk about this being an easy side RPO. So you can see it here full speed. Read, ride, pop, ball. It's literally the drill we just worked. That makes sense.
Yep.
End up not completing it, but you can see the footwork here. I've got another one here, same clip here coming. All right, so now, okay, it's going to be his opposite side. So you just saw with the last drill, now he's working his hard way here. RPO, downfield, post-snap. Okay, now he can't bring those feet and those hips to 90 degrees. He can only go 45 degrees because he's got to be able to pop his hips back in a good throwing spot.
Yeah.
Here's read, ride, pop, ball. Literally the drill we just worked.
Beautiful.
So you can see how that
That's
translates.
beauty right there.
See it from the back angle here. He's going to be on a 45-degree. Read, ride, pop, ball.
Yeah. Let me pause you right here.
Yeah, man.
I got class in 5 minutes.
Okay.
So can we pick up and do a part 2 this weekend?
Yeah. Shoot me. Probably tomorrow will work best. We've got a staff meeting here at 3.
Okay.
So I got to head over to that, and then just hanging out at home with the wife all day tomorrow. We're making tacos and homemade margaritas. So.
Okay. Perfect.
So,
I got to go change a poopy diaper before I get on my class Zoom. So I will definitely I'll text you tonight and we'll figure out something for tomorrow.
Okay. Sounds good, PJ. Appreciate you.
Thank you, brother.
Yep.
All right. Bye. What?